Let's talk about copper. The art of chasing and repousse on copper is a very old art form. If you want to dive deeper into this very addictive art form, there's a link in the description box to take you further. But these days, when we work with copper, we have so many different tools, and we don't use very thick copper, and manipulating it is easy. One of the easiest ways to get an impression on copper is to have one of these little, one of these embossing tools. This one is a scissor, and they're very heavy, and you can imprint on copper by just simply placing your piece of copper into an embossing folder. I use this one when I want some words. Sometimes I use a whole sheet to get, it's a cross, and it talks about the attributes of Jesus: grace, love, joy, and the attributes of the Holy Spirit. And there's a lot of tools they try to sell you that you really don't need. I use cardboard because I can gauge, but they'll sell you different maps. Different mats, etc. This is too thick and I'm too lazy to stop, but I did get some of it, so I'll show you what I got. But this is by far the easiest way. And it's very deep. So that's one way, by using an embossing folder. Oh wait a minute, I'll show you before I put this away. One of the most fun things, let me get rid of some of this thickness, I like to do is, I like to use coin, C-O-I-N. I have the hardest time pronouncing words. That's that Louisiana. Well, really, it's just laziness, I guess, if I took the time. But what you see is what you get with me. I irritate the daylights out of some people. They can't even listen to me, but you know, if they really want to learn, they'll put up with my little whatever. I even use this embossing folder sometimes for depth, and with that penny. And you have to play around and fight to find the right thing. Sometimes you just need another cardboard. I might get that. Felt a little resistance. See if we got the penny. Well, yeah. Well, that was a dime. I thought it was a penny. I have the hardest time finding this darn camera. I could have added another layer and got a deeper impression. So I use that a lot, quarters, dimes. I'll show you some examples. Okay. I love copper because it really it complements the heck out of leather. If you don't have a hand press, there's plenty of things you can do. When I was adding these little studs, I'll show you, I did them manually. There's my punch. Yeah, you can punch. There's several ways you can punch a hole. And I love this little video. This is a good investment. It's called the Crocodile. Not only can you punch holes, but you can apply the eyelets. Although there's other tools that's a lot less expensive for eyelets, such as this deal. And then nothing will work. You know, and all else fails, you got your mallet, it'll work. Now, sometimes if you take copper, the thicker the better. This is very thick. I hardly ever work with anything thicker than 30 36 or 38 inch copper. But if you want to etch on copper, this is something called ferric chloride. It's a copper etchant. What you would do is you would take a permanent marker, black permanent marker, or either black, if you're going to stamp something, use some Stay Zone archival ink that is permanent. And you would stamp or write or trace what you want on a copper. Then you would tape it and just suspend it in this stuff. Not the back, because you don't want to ruin the back. And it will eat. In fact, if you don't take it out at appropriate time, it will keep eating. That's what happened here. I went to bed one night and forgot I had this suspended. I woke up the next morning. It had eaten all the copper away, which is good. If I could have let it kept eating, it would have eaten all of that, and then this would have been loose. I will do that one day. So that's one way you could etch on copper. Let's find another piece I etch, because sometimes I draw a grid on. If I run across it, I'll show it to you. Another way to color copper is with this. It's called liver sulfur. It smells like rotten eggs, but it is so effective on copper. When you drop your piece of copper into liver sulfur, it will look like this. But it, depending on how long you leave it in, when it comes out, it'll look like this. Now this, I ran through the embossing folder using this. And I got that. And I use that a lot. Usually I'll cut them into ovals and put it on the bracelet like I did on this. And keep you some this is triple I. Steel wool. If not that, keep a sanding board. If not that, keep some different gauges of sanding paper, because you want to definitely, see, these are smooth, but you want to definitely smooth out the edges, because you will cut yourself and all your customers. When I sell them, it's smooth. I get rid of all those bars. Use whatever you got that will be effective until it's smooth. These I ran through the embossing folder using some leather. Some leopard print. This was zebra print. When you put it on the pair, on some leather background, you just have some drop dead gorgeous earrings that nobody will have any like. And I also like to compliment the earring with beads. I have a little stamp, little bitty stamps, lettering, upper and lower case. I use it on copper when I want to etch a word on, but I also just use it as a design element on the earring. You can also enamel. When I enamel my copper, I use clear embossing powder. First I stamp it with something sticky like, what do you call those stamp pads that is this glue? It'll come to me. I stamp it with something sticky, then I sprinkle the embossing powder on and use a heat gun to melt it. But if you don't have that, you can always use that amazing, that Mod Podge Dimensional Magic. It will give you the same effect. Great for earrings. You can put an image on it and emboss over it. And I textured it in the background, probably using an embossing folder. Now, sometimes you won't have an embossing folder. Really, I ran this through my my Cameo. I use a special mat, and just use the lettering like I was doing lettering. And I want to show you what to do if you don't have all these embossing folders and all of that. You're going to go back to the art of chasing copper. You can you start off with something thick, something like a foam board. I use 2 or 3 layers of foam board. And say for instance, if I wanted to do a letter, I would put my copper with the right side, whatever you decide the right side is, down. Find the letter you want. If I'm going to do this L. And you would use some tools. You don't have to use tools. You could really just use a pointy dowel. This one's not pointed, but you know what I'm talking about. Some of those skewers that you would use on shrimp or something like that. You don't have to have all these fancy tools, but the tools do make it a little bit easier. And the reason why they call it repousse and chasing is because after you do this, you want to turn it over. Get rid of the form, and you're going to be left with just the glass. You need something hard. It don't have to be glass. It could have been just, I'm working on a hard surface already. And you're going to chase that. And when you chase it on each side, it will raise it. And the more you want it raised, the more you want to chase. So you would chase it again. Always use the form on the back. And the glass on the front. And you keep chasing it until you have the depth you want. And that will work with anything. It'll work with stencils. For instance, I have this stencil that I love of some symbols. And this would be great for earrings. Where's that piece I was working with already? Oh, here it is. I try to be organized when I turn that darn video on because and be ready so I won't. Yeah, I'm on the back. I'm on the wrong side. I love this one. Am I in camera? Yeah. So here we go again. And we're going to chase. Now, I would like to get in there. So that, but don't worry about that. You could just really do this. I don't want this video to be too long, because it takes forever to upload. That's why I didn't get a video up yesterday, because the night before I was up till 4 in the morning uploading 3 videos, and I was dragging yesterday. And you would turn it over. And chase that. It don't take that long either. You can stop right there, you go back and chase it again and get more depth. So that's how you would do if you don't have any fancy machine. Now when I was doing these little studs, if you don't have a hand point, I have a hand point. We get it from, I get it from the same place Arthur do. I think it's Gold Star Sewing. And he has a great deal on the hand I think I paid $39.95, and those things are high. Candy sell them for $100. If you would take your piece of leather, I'll put it on this one. You see how I did that? And you can decide if you want to use the fancy studs or just the regular one. And also you can use the eyelets. But the first thing you have to do is punch a hole. I love this thing because it makes punching a hole so easy. You have to punch a hole in your leather, and you also have to punch a hole. This, oh doggone it, don't tell me I won't be able to find the scissors. This is really so soft. You can cut it with scissors. I know I'm not going to find my scissors simply because I need them. That hole is probably too big, but it's not too big for an eyelet. So let's find an eyelet. I keep putting eyelets whenever I see them anywhere. I got lucky and got a bunch at a garage sale one time. That made me happy. So you put it through there. Yeah, this okay. And then you would put it through here. And with this crocodile, you just slide it all the way down. Yeah. Sometimes that bad boy just stuck on me. I usually turn it upside down. And make sure I'm in that hole. I don't have no more strength. I used to be a big lady. And there you go. With these, this is for my handset. But I usually, let me see if I can find a smaller hole. Yeah, I'll punch it in. Yeah, that's a much smaller hole. And it works, if you notice, as long as it clears the back, even this thick leather, it'll work on that. So this is my little sample piece. So you would bring your back piece up on the back and layer. So it would be the leather, and then it would be the copper, and then it would be the top. Now if I had my hand set up, it's somewhere. Where it's down here, I just don't feel like pulling it up. And I don't have to, because I'll use this mallet. If you don't want to mar it, make sure that you have this little piece right here. And that will go down. It did still mar it. And it's on secure. You can't get your finger under it. I could have covered it with something, and if you don't want to mark, you want to do that, especially when you're using your, I'll be cleaning up. When you're using your pretty studs. Okay, I'm going to cut this video off, and you'll spend more in-depth time creating some project, but you have the basics of it, and you know now that copper can really be your friend. Now in the next video, and I hope to get done today, we're going to talk about recycling aluminum. You can either buy aluminum sheets, or you could, the cans are very thin, which is good because you can, now this is a sheet, this is a can, but the good thing about it is they both will work in this little cutting deal I have. The copper, not so much. Copper is can really be thick. But I didn't have it all the way in. But here's one. And you could put a small letter on there first and then punch it out. Or you can get a bigger punch. This little punch is just for small stuff. But there's bigger punches. And if you punch it first and put it in, then you can line it up. You can line it up and see exactly where you punched it and center it. Yeah, and then you can center it first. And then punch it. And look at that on the other side, where the natural color. I like that. Although alcohol inks will do that, and you'll see. Be right back. Now I've been looking at them all day, but of course now I can't find. I had some examples of stuff I do with aluminum. I have to show you an aluminum deal, but you can do the same thing with it that you do with copper. You can put words on it. This I used on a silhouette, but now you know how to do it by hand if you have to. But there's other ways, and we'll talk about it next time. Thanks. Talk to you later.